They said I was an idiot if I said, listen, I think there's 7 or 8 guys in this league better than me. Still a top 10 player. But league MVPs are supposed to terrify their opponents in the postseason. I didn't feel like Jokic did that.
They believe in the fat boy. Don't bet against the fat boy.
Nikola Jokic just did the unthinkable. He had one of the greatest playoff runs in NBA history without being a top 5 player or striking any fear in his opponents. So it's only fitting that Jokic closed out his historic championship run by leading all players in points, rebounds, and assists, which, in case you were wondering, has never been done in NBA history ever. And I'm here to tell you, despite not having his best statistical performance, Game 5 was truly a special performance. I want to take you guys back to the 7-minute mark of the second quarter. After Duncan Robinson hit this cutting layup, the Heat had a 10-point lead, and more importantly, Denver's offense, for the first time all playoffs, looked absolutely hopeless and lost. That's when Nikola Jokic decided enough was enough. Over the next 30 minutes of play, which he rested none of, Jokic scored 23 points, recorded 10 boards, and had the highest plus-minus of anyone on the floor. And he did it in Jokic fashion. I mean, here he is with the ball at the 3-point line. He casually walks Bam Adebayo all the way down the floor before throwing it up and in. And there's 2 reasons plays like this are hilarious. He made Bam Adebayo look like a child, and also the Heat chose not to help because, well, he's one of the greatest passers ever, which some people still struggle to understand. And unfortunately for Bam, he played some great defense. It was just better offense. Like on this play, he gets the ball in the middle of the floor. He pump fakes, spins one way before spinning back the other way and hitting a one-legged fadeaway. Can we just understand that he can go from backing Bam down with brute force on this play before then having the touch of Dirk Nowitzki on another play? And once again on this play, he gets the ball in the middle of the floor. With Bam this time in position to help, that doesn't matter because he takes one dribble before floating it in off one leg. Now, although we've seen more impressive highlights from Jokic before, I want to truly put this Game 5 performance into perspective, because 28 points and 16 boards doesn't come close to doing it justice. In the second half of the game, every player not named Nikola Jokic, including Miami players, shot 24 of 77 from the field, which was a combined 31%. Jokic, on the other hand, scored 19 points on 80% shooting. There wasn't a single other player that shot above 50% in the second half. And this right here is what separates Nikola Jokic. No matter the opponent, no matter the situation, his game never changes. I mean, just look at his numbers from each individual playoff series. Not only did he put up a near 30-point triple-double every time he stepped on the floor, but he shot over 40% from 3 every single series. It's also probably a good time to mention who he was playing. If you include last year as well, over the last 5 playoff series, Jokic's 5 different primary matchups have a combined 22 all-defensive selections and 4 Defensive Player of the Year trophies between them. 4 of the 5 guys are considered some of the best defenders of this generation, and the only guy who hasn't made an all-defensive team was considered the Jokic stopper once upon a time. He then proceeded to dominate Aiden so badly that the entire perception of him as a player changed. He went from the 3rd option on a championship favorite to, well, yeah. And I mean, you can't really blame Ayton. How are you supposed to stop this? Jokic gets the ball 20 feet from the basket. He faces up before shifting into a post-up, banging with Ayton once, twice, absorbing the contact, and it's money. Or how about this play where he brings the ball up the floor, drives right at Ayton, absorbing the contact and his touch. If there is one thing that needs to be studied when it comes to Nikola Jokic, it is how soft his touch is around the rim. It's so good that Skip Bayless was calling it sorcery, which he's not fully wrong about, but I can assure you, this is not luck. If you go back to this year's regular season, there were only 2 players in the NBA that shot above 50% from every single spot on the floor: Kevin Durant and Nikola Jokic. One of these guys is considered arguably the best scorer ever and effectively plays like a guard. The other guy happens to be a 280-pound force in the paint that is also one of the greatest passers ever. But what really makes things unfair, and honestly video game-like, is his 3 three-point shooting. He shot 46% from three as a center, and that included some of the greatest shots I have ever seen from a big man.
Jokic just gets it off in time. It's up. Oh, it's good! Of course it goes in! Back to Jokic. Shot clock winding down. Jokic has to put it up. High on the three. Oh, he knocks it down! Shot clock at 4. Jokic has to put it up. Falling away, puts it up. Bang! Nikola Jokic! Blocking out. Jokic from way downtown.
I mean, can we just appreciate that a center is casually pulling from 28 feet with 7 seconds left on the shot clock like it's nothing? But Jokic's shooting is so hilarious because the Nuggets are running plays to get their 280-pound center three-point looks on the move. Like at the start of Game 5, where Jamal is the one setting the screen for Jokic to come off it and knock down the three. The same action is consistently run for him to get shots in the mid-range as well. And the only reason he isn't talked about more consistently as one of the greatest shooting big men at the 4 or the 5 is because he's so dominant inside and as a passer that it gets overlooked. That is the only reason, which is probably a good time to mention his passing. Unfortunately, despite what Kendrick Perkins says, Jokic does not stat pad, which stopped him from averaging a 30-point triple-double. Instead, he only averaged 9.5 assists, and a large reason for that drop-off at the end was because against Miami, the Nuggets really struggled from 3. Now, that didn't stop him from pulling off some ridiculous dimes. My personal favorite, this play where he's posting up against Bam, and everything about this play looks like a normal hook shot, but he puts it on the money to AG. In fact, pretty much any play that involved Nikola Jokic and Aaron Gordon was just the definition of beautiful ball movement. And if you look beyond the numbers and accolades, that's what Jokic consistently provides. Just an artist with the basketball. I mean, watch this. Jokic gets the ball at the three-point line. They run a 5-4 pick and roll. Bam covers Green, so Jokic backs down Strus. Let me pause right here. 1, 2, 3 Miami defenders crowd Jokic, so where do you think the ball is going to end up? Just a perfect over-the-head pass to Green. And this is why Jokic is the best passer in the league, because no one else can make that pass. And I'm not saying just because of his skill, it's his height that gives him this unique ability to see over multiple defenders, like here where he's crowded by 2 6'9" Lakers defenders and is somehow not only able to see Bruce, but also able to drop a perfect dime to him for the bucket. And it would be remiss of me to not mention the fact Nikola Jokic also had a 103.6 defensive rating in this year's finals. Just for reference, the Cavs had the best ranked defense in the regular season at just under 110. Now, Jokic obviously didn't do it by himself, but not only is he the best rebounder in the league, no one at his size has quicker hands than him. Most memorably this play. Vincent has the ball up top. Bam sets the screen, and this is where Jokic does excellently, shading over to Bam before then stepping up at the right time and swiping down at the ball, which led to this.
Picked up by Porter. Porter drives between the legs. Layup is good.
Not bad for someone who was considered the worst defender in the league by some and was said to never be able to win a championship because of that defense. Well, he did exactly that.